All right. Hi, everyone. And big news. I want to let either Fubi or Philip share the news. I think that you know what I mean.
Yeah. Hi. Hi, everybody. So yeah, we are in the final beta now for the GraphQL module. We have already announced that we will be releasing the release candidate for the module this week. Currently in the process of cleaning up. Last week was quite eventful. We added entity querying with very flexible filtering, much like the JSON API filtering capabilities. Slightly different. It's not the same model, but it is the same concept, basically. And yeah, the same filtering flexibility the JSON API has now. Also, we reworked our testing framework further. That is considered done, according to Philip, right, Philip?
Yes.
Okay.
Testing framework. So I refactored all tests in the base module to the new testing. We found some cache meta information leaks in the process. That's exactly the reason why we did that. I consider this a success. And yeah, now it's time to document it at some point.
Yeah, and now we are just cleaning up a little bit, looking at our schema again, seeing where we can simplify things or maybe add a few additional fields. We added some very few lines of code that also now allow for querying for entity revisions. We allow for querying reverse entity references now, so you can query the nodes that a user has created from the user entity, for instance, like following the reverse entity reference of the UID field on the node. Also, the same querying capabilities that you have for the normal entity query field on the root level. Like you can query for nodes that the user has created, but only with a certain title, for instance. Same with revisions. And yeah, that's it, I believe.
There are two things that sound, or may sound small to the untrained ear, but they are like kind of a big deal, or at least not easily achievable, which is querying across revisions. I may want to talk a little bit about more, maybe today or at some point, and the back references without it being a performance hog. Those are two things that that sound like really impressive. I'd like to see how you achieve that. But yay, beta, final beta, and possibly a release candidate this week. That's really cool, and I'm excited about that.
Also, what's noteworthy is that because of the refactorings that Philip did, we are at 80% test coverage for the whole module. And that includes things that will never get test covered, like UI code for the Voyager or Explorer things. So we are probably more closer to 90% actually, if you consider just the API relevant parts of it. So yeah, that's also pretty cool.
Yeah, sounds really nice. Some word of caution, though. Sometimes it's data that you need to test, and I know that how that sounds, but when exposing data models automatically, there are some weird conditions. There are fields that are really special and things like that. That is something that probably Wim would talk about it very extensively, but sadly he could not join today. Something that he's been doing in JSON API. So maybe if you want to take a sneak peek on what that would entail, or at least what happened for REST core and now for JSON API, maybe it's interesting to you as well. Which I think it's a good segue into what's going on in JSON API at the moment. There is a big review pending, which is a big deal, a very big deal. And it feels like this week was the API first week. So Wim finally finished the comprehensive test coverage for individual entities for the JSON API module, which is the big chunk of the comprehensive test coverage plan that we devised a while back, and yeah, that uncovered some edge cases, some bugs, nothing major, but some annoyances, like this should be a 409 error, and instead it's 400, and things like that, or the head request is not being cached. So yeah, test doing its work. I guess we should call it a success as well, just with like the leaked cacheability metadata. And also we are on our way moving forward in allowing configurability on selecting which resources you can disable based on type data metadata. But Gabe, can you give a quick update on how that's going?
I'm sorry, an update on what? I checked out for just a second.
The internal resource types, the thing that you were doing where you can disable some entity types, and that disables the resource type, the references to it, and any links that you can generate, etc.
Yeah, absolutely. So just a while ago, we took the concept of internal data definitions that had been applied to fields and properties of those fields, and kind of extended that to also work for the type data definitions of entities or entity types themselves. And so now, as of yesterday, I think all of the pieces are in place in core to start using that in JSON API and GraphQL if you guys want to, and test that appropriately. So I just submitted another patch this morning, which will finish up testing that internal entities can't be kind of added via includes, and also updated a patch for relationship routes. So that's like 95% done. And that's it.
Yep, that's pretty cool. And that will deprecate the same functionality that exists in JSON API extras with a little bit more cohesion, I think. I don't know if you agree. I think that the approach is more tightly integrated with the rest of the module and with core. So I'm happy to move from that functionality from JSON API extras to JSON API. So I think that's pretty much it. I don't know if you, Ted, have something to report from REST core land that you or Gabe. I know that both of you are involved in that.
No, I'm just getting back into it. I was looking at the add file URL to file fields, and then just working on helping the new co-maintainer of OpenAPI, who's doing a lot of work on the OpenAPI module. That's about it. So OpenAPI is we're just getting a roadmap to stable or to 1.0. So we're identifying some issues. So.
Nice.
Yep. So that's it.
Gabe, are you aware of anything we should update the world or the team on core REST?
Core REST is also using the internal piece, and that's really it. There's that I know of. I mean, I think Wim has been focused on JSON API pretty heavily for the last week, which means REST probably isn't moving forward on much.
Yeah, well, either that or there are many whims because the progress on this API has been steady.
I'm convinced there's probably 12 whims.
You wished, or we wished. Yeah, the internal thing is it's kind of cool because, and that's something that I think Ted started moving forward because it applies to properties inside of fields, or entities. So it can apply, that same concept applies across different levels, and I think it's a pretty seamless experience. Hopefully we will have a UI module to settle those soon.
REST. Sorry, I was saying a UI module for what part?
Oh, for setting the internal flag on the different type data, like for people to have this easy.
For contrib, I think that would make sense. I think for core, like that could be dangerous to set. I mean, you intentionally set stuff internal because you don't want it to be set through the API.
Right. No. Yeah. I was thinking about contrib and how
contrib,
and the approach that the JSON API extras takes on this. I don't think I have anything else. I'm still interested on having a couple of links on how you solved the GraphQL team solved the back references and the revision query, the queries on revisions for entities. So if you can share those links in maybe Slack or somewhere else.
Yeah, I'll post them in Slack.
That's pretty cool. I'm excited about that. Other than that, unless anyone has anything else, I'm going to call it.
Thanks.
All right. Awkward silence has it. Bye, everyone.
Bye.